Turning to the surge in violence across the country, President Trump sends a scathing letter to Illinois governor and Chicago's mayor over the recent wave of shootings in the city, saying in part, quote, "Unfortunately, you continue to put your own political interest ahead of the lives, safety, and fortunes of your citizens. The people of Chicago deserve better." The president also offered to help with unsolved challenges in his letter, but the local leaders hit back. Governor Pritzker saying in part, quote, "President Trump is a failure who has once again resorted to a press stunt in an attempt to distract from his long list of failures." And Mayor Lori Lightfoot took to Twitter saying she doesn't need a lesson in leadership. Meantime, Project 21, a group of conservative African Americans, applauds President Trump's outreach to Chicago's leadership. They say it's time for Mayor Lightfoot to take yes for an answer. We want to bring in Emory McClendon. He's on Project 21's National Advisory Council. Thank you for coming on today's program this morning. And even before this recent wave of violence, Chicago had more murders annually than New York and LA combined. What do you think Chicago is doing so wrong?
Well, I'm happy to be here this morning. Thank you for inviting me. I really don't know what Chicago's doing so wrong. It seems like to me that they have a problem in the policing. It seems like that they have a problem in their communities, the people teaching their youngsters and their young people about the respect for life, respect for others. There's also seems to be a blatant disregard for the law because as long as I've known, Chicago has been a gun-free zone, but yet there are more gun killings within the city limits of that city than all over the other cities in around the nation. So there's something very definitely going wrong. Disrespect for life. We see that in that they're indiscriminate on who it is that they shoot, kill, or maim, and it's indiscriminate where they do so. We've seen it at churches, we've seen it on the street corners, we've seen shootings at residences. I mean, it's just absolutely absurd what's going on in that city.
And you've got to worry about the minority community as well. Who's looking out for them in the inner city of Chicago? Where's the mayor? Where's the governor in all of this? Clearly, President Trump saying that he's going to come out and he would like to help out people who live in Chicago.
Yes, that was very refreshing for the president to do so and to offer the help from his cabinet to come in and help them devise a plan to lower the crime rate. You know, Chicago is a very large city. It's an important city. It's a city of great tourism and places where people can bring their families and enjoy museums and arts and the pier and baseball. You got it. You got football. Everything is right there. But people are afraid to spend their time in certain communities in Chicago. They're afraid to travel through those communities to get to other locations because the crime rate is so high. So I think the mayor needs to take a look at any way that she can to get help. And if the federal government can devise plans and ways for her to lower crime in Chicago, to help the communities have a better outreach by working through the churches, social agencies, the mayor's office, the county, and even through the state. I think that's a positive thing, not a negative thing. And I think she should be open up to that so that the residents in the community will see that, and then that they will be willing to join in and help her and the community and the federal government do the same.
Unfortunately, it's not just Chicago where we're seeing this violence. We're also seeing it in New York City. And this morning, protesters were outside of City Hall just hours in advance of the City Council's vote on actually taking away $1 billion from the NYPD budget. This is a look outside of City Council right now. City Hall in New York, I should say. You know, Emory, is defunding the police the answer right now, again, to take $1 billion away from the NYPD?
That's an interesting question, and I think the answer to that is absolutely not. At a time when violence is at an all-time high, it's escalating. We see groups taking over whole city blocks, barricading those blocks off, shootings, rapings, killings, reported, allegedly. Those things are happening behind those barricades. We see more and more evidences of destruction, tearing down statues, attacking the police department members and those who are serving our communities. And then those very same people, when problems happen behind those barricades or when problems happen to them, when they're confronted with violence, they're calling on the police. We need to make reforms, that is true, within the police department, have standardized training and so forth, but we don't need to defund the police officers because if we do, who are you going to call when you need help?
Exactly. A great question. Of course, we've seen that kind of play out in Seattle, where police, even if they are called, they're unable to get into that zone. So it's just fascinating to see this all play out. Emory McClendon, thank you for coming on today's program. We really appreciate it. Take care.
Oh, I appreciate you. Take care. You're doing a great job.
Thanks so much.